Today we're going to be taking a look at the forgotten Seiko series that was a bit ahead of its time. Introducing the Seiko Chariot. It is 1:31 p.m. Let's get down to business. As always, this episode is brought to you by the Time Teller Shop. Go ahead, click the link in the description below and check out some awesome watches. We just did a restock. Use this coupon code for the entire month of January and don't miss out. Okay, so to fully understand the Seiko Chariot, we must first understand Grand Seiko and King Seiko. Now guys, I'm going to be doing a very abbreviated history and comparison of Grand Seiko and King Seiko here, but if you're interested in me doing a full episode dedicated to this topic, let me know. Now, throughout World War II, you can imagine Japan's manufacturing industry was kind of forced to go through some pretty extreme changes. One of those changes very heavily influenced Japanese watchmaking. You see, at the time, Seiko's primary manufacturing site in Kamaido, Japan, was actually forced to evacuate because of bombing. This essentially split Seiko's manufacturing divisions into two separate entities. Daini Sekosha, which was initially the Kamaido plant, and Suwa Sekosha. So let's jump just past World War II, 1959 Japan. Japan's manufacturing industry is just getting out of the hole. And in regards to Seiko's manufacturing, Suwa Sekosha and Daini Sekosha are now 100% independent. They're not sharing any parts or designs with one another. So around this time, late 1950s, early 1960s, Suwa Sekosha decided to answer a calling for a higher-end Japanese watch, and soon after introduced the Grand Seiko. Now, I'm fortunate enough to own a Grand Seiko J14070, the first ever Grand Seiko, but the Daini Sekosha division didn't want to play second fiddle to Suwa Sekosha, so they answered them by introducing the King Seiko series of watches. So a lot of watch enthusiasts are rightly confused because nowadays we know Grand Seiko as this very prominent, innovative, very sophisticated, sharp watchmaker of the future. But then Seiko just introduced a reissue of a King Seiko, and then you look back and you see King Seiko, Grand Seiko. Like, what is all of this? Well, it's kind of interesting to learn that these two high-end watches came from some kind of almost infighting, some competition within the same company. Now, as we know, Grand Seiko did end up winning this competition in the end, and we should note that Suwa Sekosha ended up becoming Seiko Epson, and then Daini Sekosha ended up being Seiko Instruments. And we know of Seiko Instruments as being a movement manufacturer because whenever you look at an NH35, you see SII, Seiko Instruments Incorporated. And this makes sense because it was actually Daini Sekosha, or Seiko Instruments, that produced the 9S movement that is now kind of the backbone of Suwa Sekosha's Grand Seiko watches of today. But let's jump back into the 1970s. The Daini Sekosha division wanted to develop something smooth, accurate, beating at a high frequency. Now, this is prior to the spring drive movement, which doesn't really have a beat at all. It just glides across the dial. But it was in the 1970s that Daini Sekosha introduced the caliber 2220 high beat movement. Now, this watch caliber had a 28,800 VPH sweep, which was wildly impressive for the time. Nowadays, you know, that's fairly common with the Miyota Premium and, you know, the Solitas, and, well, a lot of watches now have a 28,800 VPH sweep. And it was also around this time that Daini Sekosha wanted to develop a watch that could house these movements simply, elegantly, cleanly. Now, these were very, very elegant, kind of simple two-handers. And I think although the presentation of it being a two-hand watch is very nice, and as I said, clean and simple, I think it kind of did that series a bit of a disservice because without the smooth sweep of a second hand, it's hard to appreciate the smoothness of that high beat movement. Now, real quick, I do want to tell you that the Seiko Chariots you've been seeing in this episode are actually available at the Time Teller shop right now, and I'm actually wearing one on the wrist. The condition of these watches is insane. You will not find them in this good a condition anywhere else, so these will be scooped up quickly. But guys, if there's one thing I want you to take away from this entire episode, it's that, well, it's a bit of a history lesson, so hopefully you guys understand a little better where Grand Seiko and King Seiko and then this Chariot all fell into place and how they came about. But also, it's that Seiko is and kind of always has been an incredibly innovative watchmaker. And although I've kind of recently fallen out of love with them because I feel like they've turned their back on the people who have really made them who they are. I mean, Seiko was the people's champion when it comes to entry-level heavy hitters. But in spite of that fact, we can still look at where they came from, what they've developed, and what type of watchmaker they've been, and we can still appreciate what they've done for watchmaking as a whole. But let me know what you guys think. Do you enjoy this history? Did you know about the Seiko Chariot series? Do you own one? Do you own a King Seiko? Do you own a Grand Seiko? Leave me that comment, guys, and I will interact with you over there in the comment section, and I will catch you on the next one. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay blessed. I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller, and always remember I didn't invent time. I just tell it.